we barely, didn't, it's hard to explain. We didn't be intimate. Do you know what I mean? And it took about a year and a half, nearly 2 years before we even got to that point. I ended up getting pregnant, but I didn't know I was pregnant because of the injuries. And I'd had surgery. So after, because the police arranged me to go to the hospital and all of that, they were looking after me. And I didn't leave the safe house until I was nearly 19. So at 19, I went straight out, started getting drunk and taking drugs. And I met this drug dealer who was older than me. I ended up getting pregnant to him, but not understanding my body because everything was still normal. I was still having monthly, girl things. So I didn't realize that I was pregnant. When I actually went to the doctor because I was starting to feel dizzy and stuff, the doctor done an examination, sent me for an ultrasound. I was 22 and a half weeks pregnant before I even found out.
Wow.
So I was so upset about it because I'd been taking drugs and drinking through the pregnancy. I stopped straight away. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I didn't want my child to be born addicted to drugs like I was. So straight
Right.
away, my level head kicked in, and I got away from him. And we went through all the tests to make sure there was nothing wrong with the baby. And from the tests, they said there was nothing wrong with him. When he was born, the test came back, there was nothing wrong with him. And he actually is a really successful businessman with a perfect marriage and everything. So he turned out to be really good. But I stopped drugs and alcohol the moment that I found out that I was carrying a baby. I went through withdrawals. I put myself through it and I got through it because I had a baby inside of me and I wanted to be a mum. So it was important enough for me to go, all right, that's it. I'm done. And I ran away from him and ended up having this baby. And he's now grown, like I said. My second baby, I had fallen in love with a man in from California. He was Puerto Rican and native, native. I always dated native men. So I had my second son with him. While I was pregnant with my second son, he was murdered by Los Angeles Police Department and shot.
The man was?
Um, yeah, so I went through some really bad times. So while I was pregnant, I lost the father of my second child. So now I've got two children, but I was a really good mum. I know I was because my children tell me that. Um, I straightened my life out. I got good jobs. I finished school. I went to university. I got a higher education. I did it all myself because I didn't want to be uneducated, because of course all of that was taken away from me. I had to go back and get it all back myself. So I went to college and I finished my whole education in college and I went on to university after that. And then I was in a relationship for 12 years. And on the ninth year of that relationship, I had my first child, which was my girl, who's 20 now. And 3 years later, I got pregnant with my last child. My last child is autistic and ADHD, but he's verbal and he is super intelligent. Like
So he's
he's
high
high.
functioning autistic.
Oh yeah, he says things that even spin me out. He'll talk about the Russian Revolution and like he's so smart. It's scary really. But he's my baby and he's just turned 17 and I don't want him to grow up. I don't
We
want
don't
him to.
ever.
He's 6 foot tall now, and I'm only five and a half. My three boys, I got one that's 6 foot six, one that's 6'1", and now my baby is just over 6 foot, and he's only 17. So, and my daughter's small like me. Like we're little. We're the
All my
little
kids
thing.
tower over me.
Really. My
Yes.
daughter and me are the same exactly. I think she's just going to be the same as me. Little feet, big hands and little feet. We've got. That's what's really weird.
My oldest daughter is almost 30 and
Yeah.
she is 6'1".
Wow.
I'm 5'7". My son is
So you're
6 foot.
taller than me. Yeah.
My my son is 6 foot. My third child, a daughter, is 5'10", And
Wow.
then my youngest is almost 6 foot. She's 5'11 and a half.
Wow.
So they all tower over me.
Yeah, my boys do because my husband's 6'2" as well, and his arms are as big as my legs. Like he's a big, big dude. I did
Yeah.
lose my first, the person that I loved the most was my first husband, and he died today, actually. So he
He
died
died
today.
today.
Yeah, today's his death anniversary. I have
Oh,
him all over my page. He was the love of my life, and he died, and that was hard. That was hard. And I
I'm
got
sorry to hear that.
remarried. I got remarried. I married my friend, who was somebody that was a friend of mine and my husband's. My husband, that's my late husband, and my friend, he was a friend to us, and I ended up marrying my friend, and he is my friend. Like I love him. It's just different. Just different. Um, he knows I love him. It's just a different love. He the my late husband was definitely the love of my life, and
Who was your
I
first true
can't.
love?
Yeah, and that was like real deep love, and my husband understands because he's seen us together and he watched our relationship. He was with somebody and we used to go out together and we ended up together. So he kind of understands. He gets paid off sometimes. He's like, get over it. And I'm like, I'll never get over it. And we have a little argument and then we just get over it. He's not aggressive. We don't have a violent relationship. I think he just gets hurt that I still love my late husband. So
Well, he was your first true love, and that doesn't mean you don't love your husband now. That just means that you still have love there for him, because
I
that you
do.
said that love was deep, and
That was the only time I remember love being like that. Like it was very deep. And so yeah, I didn't like people often say to me, so what happened when you got out? And I'm like, oh my God, do you want to hear the tragedy? Because nothing got easier or better until now. And now my life is like easier the way I live. I'm spoiled. I have everything I need, everything I want. He gets for me. I'm a spoiled brat now, but it took me till now to get to this place. I still struggle. Like I said, I have my daily struggles and I push through it. But I do have moments where I just break down and I have to be in the dark for days. I won't open the curtains. I can't turn on the light. I just have to be in the dark and I have those moments and I get through them somehow. Some days are dark, some days are really dark, and I can't change that. I know that I have no control over that. I have to just accept that some days are bad and some days are okay. I don't think it's ever going to get easier. I think it's just going to get to the point where I accept that life isn't always going to be great. There's going to be days where it hurts more than the day before. So it's just
yes,
my
can we
life.
get prayers in the chat? Prayers in the chat for Yanni's daughter. Prayers in the chat for Yanni's daughter that she is done with the cancer and can live her life happily.
I hope
You know,
so.
the reason I asked about motherhood after having the reconstruction done
Yeah.
and pregnancy, were any of your pregnancies hard? I mean, did you have
Oh,
to?
my daughter was 11 weeks early. My son was 9 weeks early. I had premature babies. I was high risk pregnancy every time. Um, I remember when I was having my boy, the second one, and I'd come in to see my doctor, and the doctor said to me, "Oh, you're infamous." And I go, what? He goes, oh, you're the one that's got the introverted extrovert. I don't even know what he said. I forget. But apparently my uterus is really, really bizarre. And of course it's going to be. And this doctor had brought it up and no other doctor had said it before him. And then when I had my daughter, another doctor said it. And so my insides aren't like other women. I know that for sure. I didn't find that out till about really understanding about it till I had my daughter. And I was high risk pregnancy. And the reason why I was high risk pregnancy was the way my organs were sitting inside of my body. And the doctor said to me, I don't even know how you got pregnant. one of them.
Well, it was by the
Um,
grace of God. God wanted you to have children, honey.
Absolutely. I was just about to say, God made sure that I was a mother because it was important to me. I wanted to be a mother. I had motherly instincts from 5 and 6 years old. So I really wanted to fulfill that. And I did 4 times, 5 times. I lost one baby. I was 6.5 months pregnant and the baby died in my stomach. So yeah, I had very bad pregnancies.
I'm
Um,
sorry to
like
hear that.
I know, like I said, my life did not just magically get better. It just didn't happen like that for me. I went on to struggle with other things and until now, and my life is quite peaceful now. Like everything's in the right place. My kids are successful. None of them are on drugs and alcohol, and they're all professional. And that's the main thing, that my kids are okay. That was the most important thing to me. You
Well, as a
know,
mother, like as a mother
yeah,
myself, that's the most important thing to me that my kids are okay,
yeah.
and now my
And I'm
grandchildren.
lucky, and I have got no grandchildren because my children are very career minded, especially the older ones. So they're like, my oldest son's married to a Taiwanese girl. She looks like a little doll. Like she's so beautiful, like gorgeous. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to have my grandchildren. Well, they got a cat. And he goes, we're not having children. The cat's their baby. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously? Where are my grandbabies? Like, my daughter's 20 and she's going through that now. And she's like, oh, I'm going to travel. And good on her. I want her to do that. But once again, and then the other one's a federal police officer. So he's all career minded. So I don't think I'm getting grandchildren for a while.
Well, one day.
So yeah,
Hello.
I hope so. Like, come on. I want to be a nan, grandma.
Well,
You
that's what
know,
we strive for, is to be,
I know
parents and grandparents.
my children are very intelligent, all of them. And because of that, it's a double edged sword. Their education makes them do things differently. Like, because they're so intelligent, they're like, no, I have to travel the world before I have children. They're, they're very structured, where I got pregnant and had my first child by 20. And, my kids are different than me, sadly. I want some grandbabies.
It'll happen.
Definitely. I hope
It'll,
so, because that would be unfair to not get grandchildren.
it'll
My
happen for you.
children know, and my oldest boys, they know. They've seen me go through bad stuff, and the suicides and all of that. They've seen all that, but they don't blame me for it anymore like they did for a while. They kind of were angry with me for it, saying, "Oh, well, what's going to happen to us?" And and you don't think of that when your mind is in that mindset. You don't think of your children. You're not thinking logically. You're in a whole different mindset at that time. And they understand now that I didn't do that to be malicious to them. It was just my mental health was so bad that I'd given up a few times, and they
Well,
don't hold it against me at all.
well, you're
So,
you're a miracle yourself. You survived all that trauma, and you're surviving now. You survived trying to hurt yourself.
yeah,
You survived your pregnancy. So did your babies. I mean, that's a miracle in itself, honey.
definitely. Because I think you know what, I don't think I would be here if I didn't have children.
If you could say
And
something, go ahead, hon.
I just feel like if I didn't have children, I wouldn't have had a reason to fight and survive. They gave me the will to fight and want to live. I don't think without them I would have. And that's why I think I was blessed to have them. As hard as those pregnancies were, I was in a light. Somebody was watching over me. That's what I believe anyway.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. I feel like I was being walked through those pregnancies somehow.